Perfect. Let us start our journey of book summaries, where we have set the target of completing 200 book summaries in the entire year. As we have set the target, we are moving ahead on that. We have seen 18 book summaries in the previous month. Let us start the beautiful month of February with another set of book summaries. Today we are having one book summary named as Counterclockwise, written by Ellen Langer. Let us see the top 3 lessons and what are the key takeaways that we can take from this book. I recommend you to take digital notes or physical notes, whatever it is, and share your lessons in the comments. Let us get started. Who is the targeted audience for this book, Counterclockwise? The 33-year-old with a chronic illness who looks for the ways to help himself beyond his current treatment plan. Whoever going through the phase of health challenges, for them it is the Bible. The 68-year-old wondering how to deal with the first symptoms of aging, who worries about the aging problems, for them also this is a book. Anyone who wants to have more control over their health. So overall, these are target audience is suggesting us if you want to work on health growth, let us take few lessons from this book and try to implement them. Let us see synopsis. Counterclockwise is a critical look at current perspectives on health with a particular focus on how we can improve our own when we shift from being mindless to mindful. Counterclockwise is a critical look at current perspectives on health. Means whatever you have health perspectives, it is giving you critical look with a focus on how we can improve our own when we shift from being mindless to mindful. Let us listen from the author, Ellen Langer. We can wait for science to catch up and then do as it suggests, or we can begin today to become more involved in our own care. Remember this. We can wait for science to catch up and then do as it suggests, or we can begin today to become more involved in our own care. Don't let the quote above mislead you. The author of Counterclockwise does not dismiss science as a way to learn about health. She is an academic also. I had say that she is a remarkable one precisely because she recognizes the limitations of medical science today. Her work is about looking for ways to surpass what seems impossible in the medical field. She calls it the psychology of possibility, finding out what is possible in the realm of health rather than what is universally true. The latter is, according to Langer, not feasible for humans to attain anyway. Langer's flagship Counterclockwise study provided an astonishing insight into what's imaginable in reversing the physiological effects of aging. As we know, many people are worrying about the aging. This book provided few insights which can reverse the aging effects. In the experiment, researchers invited a group of 80-year-old men was to a time travel retreat. For 7 days, the experiment happened on this 80-year-old man. They lived in a setting emulating the world from the 20 years before. The men spoke about past events as if they were happening in the present. So that research results also we are going to learn. Let us see the top 3 lessons from this. Counterclockwise transforms what you believed was impossible into possible. This transforms you, what you believed was impossible, and it makes you to possible. As I read through the stories showing what factors influence our health that we are not even aware of, I felt shocked and empowered at the same time. Shocked because some of it sound like magic. Empowered because I realized that I have much more agency over my health than I ever thought. As a result, they came out of the experiment with significantly improved memory, vision, physical strength, and other measures that are commonly believed to irreversibly decline with age. The study became a springboard to Langer's further research on mindful health, which she sums up in this powerful book, Counterclockwise, Mindful Health and the Power of Possibility. Let us see top 3 lessons from this book. We should not fully trust doctors with our health diagnosis and treatments. Remember this powerful statement. We should not fully trust doctors with our health diagnosis and treatments. The words we use when describing our health matter a lot. Whatever the words we use describing our health matters a lot. And the third lesson is mindful health is all about being sensitive to variability. Mindful health is all about being sensitive to variability. Let us get into dig deeper of these 3 lessons. Ready to become in charge of your own health? Let's do it. Lesson number 1. There are good reasons to question expert diagnosis and health advice. It is not the intention of this book to prevent you from seeing your doctor or approaching your doctor. There are many times when we require expert medical intervention, like we have seen the example of corona. There are many doctors available, but still we required expert medical intervention. But submitting yourself to the prescribed treatment should not be synonymous with giving up the responsibility of your own health. If you yourself are not responsible for your own health, even sometimes doctors' treatments also will not work. The reason for this is simple. Your body is yours alone, which means that only you have access to the first-hand information about your health. A doctor does her best to formulate a diagnosis and treatment plan based on what she knows, but doesn't give you what you face. But you should keep in your mind that what she sees is by no means complete. A patient is a good experiment who can understand himself first. Even if patient does not give you the proper information to the doctor will not help in the proper way. A health diagnosis is an attempt to define a patient's general condition, symptoms, and potential to get better. While these variables are infinitely personal and complex, a label like bronchitis originates from a statistical average. This means that a part of your condition is not included under that designation. Langer argues that because of the imperfection of the medical system, we should take charge of our own health. We should everyone take charge of our own health. It starts with recognizing that the doctor cannot possibly have all the relevant information. That's what I told. Patient only need to provide the relevant information to the doctor. She bases her work on probabilities, whether this might be the thing or this might be the case. Doctor work based on the probabilities rather than the certainties. Acknowledging this may lead you to ask additional questions, share information about your condition that you are not asked to share, or consulting another doctor to cross-check the diagnosis. All of this can contribute to more personalized and therefore better healthcare. So always remember that there are good reasons to question expert diagnosis and health advice. And let us see the second lesson. The language or the words we use in the health impacts our reality, including our health. It is not a new concept that as much as societies create language shapes people in turn. Langer shows that this idea is profoundly important for our health. Let us consider the difference in the way we talk about cancer and a cold. Suppose a person is going through a cancer and another person is going through a cold. In the medical world, it is common to say that a patient after successful career cancer treatment is in remission. This is almost akin to saying that we are waiting for cancer to return. If it does, we see it as the same cancer that was there before the treatment. Suppose when we catch a cold, however, we assume that it is separate from the last time we had it. A cold is never in remission, it simply gets cured. If we have it again, we treat the illness as a new one. Langer argues that the language we use to talk about health and disease matters a whole lot. According to the study she did on cancer survivors, she conducted many researchers on cancer survivors. There is a strong correlation between whether a patient sees herself as cured or in remission and her overall well-being. So how the patient feels himself or herself matters the cure of the disease. Other than verbal language, the symbols like we use hand gestures or mouth gestures, the symbols we surround ourselves with are important too. It's not only about words. The symbols that we use, the facial expressions, the hand gestures that we use, also important. One example is, let us take an example, doctors wearing uniforms around patients, which according to Langer may have a negative influence on the treatment. Whatever's doctor's uniform may have a negative influence on the treatment. How is it so? Let us see. Formal uniforms reinforce the roles of a patient and a doctor. Whatever, if you see the white uniform of a doctor, you see that you are a patient and that person is a doctor, which encourages the two to act mindlessly as if according to a script. This thoughtlessness seems to be the link between virtually all the problems described by Langer in this book. So sometimes this dress appearance also have a negative influence. Let us see the third lesson from the top 3 lessons. Being mindful about our health can save us a lot of trouble. Ellen Langer once said that virtually all the world's ills boil down to mindfulness or mindlessness. Virtually all the world's ills or diseases boil down to mindlessness. Means the ultimate point of destination for every disease is mindlessness. Her message in this book, Counterclockwise, is that we can always improve our health by being more mindful. If you want to improve your health, try to be more mindful. However, it is not exactly the kind of mindfulness that you read about in meditation tutorials or spiritual books on the online. The core of mindful health is paying attention to variability, whether while having food, whether while having sleep. This means that rather than treating our condition in binary terms like whether we are healthy, whether we are sick, we see our physical state as a complex continuum of many codependent variables that change over time. For someone diagnosed with the depression, let us take any student or college student who diagnosed with the depression. This may mean that noticing that they do not always feel equally depressed. There may even be moments when they feel happy. It is not like depressed means every time they feel depressed. Let us take another example. For a person who have diabetes, who struggles to control blood sugar levels, it can be useful to detect subtle changes in their energy levels, which tell them whether their sugar went high or low. When they eat sweet, they'll easily recognize themselves, their sugar level or energy level went into high. There is always new information about our health that we can access simply by becoming more sensitive to how our moment to moment experience varies. Sometimes you feel the stomach is full of food, or sometimes you feel more hungry. Each and every sensations or every moment to moment experience varies from one person to another person. So there is always new information about the health we can access every moment. Ultimately, the approach of mindful health is about paying attention to your mind and body continuously. This way, we can realize that we are failing or falling out of balance before we get into serious health trouble. So remember, the key lesson of this book is being mindlessness leads to diseases or sickness. Instead, try to impact or imply the mindfulness in your daily life with the help of controlling your mind and body, especially while having food, while having sleep, while having work, while having deviations. You should be mindful. If you are mindful about your actions or health, then you are prone to less diseases. That's what we can take from this book summary. See you in another book summary another day. Until then, stay connected.